Hi, I'm Theodore, more affectionately known as Teddy. This is the true story about the first cross-country trip of the big red wagon and the little truck that did. The journey was packed with fun and excitement, and I discovered that the spirit of adventure, kindness, and ingenuity is alive and well in America. I hope you enjoy my story. The story begins with a trip to the paint shop for the little 1948 GMC or Jimmy truck. Mike and Richard are masking the front for painting blue and red pearl scallops. Jake had decided only 2 weeks before the Lincoln event that he would take the little Jimmy and wagon. He would stop first at Topeka, Kansas to see his new grandson Vincent and pick up his wife Judy, who had been in Kansas for Vincent's birth. I was a little concerned about taking the stock GMC because it has the original motor in it and has not had the oil pan off in over 40 years. We swapped out the stock carburetor to a Weber 2-barrel for a little more power on the hills and replaced the generator with a one-wire alternator. Curtis ran all the computer diagnostics, adjusted the valves, and determined that the little 228 cubic inch motor should make it just fine. That made me feel so much better about the trip. Before we knew it, it was time to leave. We would be traveling alone for the first leg of the journey back to Topeka, so we thought it would be a good idea to get there as soon as we could. I rode in the wagon all the way, and even though we were in a hurry, we caused some major commotions. The truckers talked to us, and the trains whistled at us, and one lady even pulled a U-turn on the interstate to get a picture. But the fun really started once we got to Topeka. I got to hold Vincent as soon as I got there, and it was really great to see the new parents, Phil and Chritstina. I was so happy carrying Vincent in my wagon. If Vincent could talk, I think he would have asked me for one of those lollipops that I give to kids who see us on the road. Just when I thought life couldn't get any better, I found out that we were all going to be in the 4th of July parade and car show in Wamego, Kansas, the birthplace of Walter P. Chrysler. The parade was so much fun. I proudly showed off Vincent to all the people along the parade route. If you look closely in the rearview mirror, you can see him waving the flag. Vincent got to meet Margaret, one of the Munchkins from the movie The Wizard of Oz. The next day, we headed north for Lincoln, Nebraska. When we arrived, we felt like celebrities. A reporter tracked us down at the fairgrounds with these orders from the editor. Find that old truck pulling the big red wagon with the huge teddy bear in back. Boy, were we surprised to be on the front page of the Lincoln Star newspaper. And in Lincoln, I got very excited to see such a great collection of pedal cars. I sure could have fun riding each of them all around. The cars belonged to Bill Smith and were in a museum at his Speedway Motors plant. We took kids of all ages for rides in the wagon and made many new friends. When a weld broke on the wagon, one of the exhibitors offered to fix it right there on the fairgrounds. We were repaired in no time and were amazed at how many wonderful people we had met. But to me, the most wonderful person of all was Tina Marie. She was just like me, only kinda different. She was softer than I, and much prettier. And she looked great in her tea bucket. We hit it right off. I sure hope I get to see her again in our future travels. I really like her. We saw so many really nice cars at the show, but can you imagine how surprised we were to see a car that would fit into the wagon? I had fun seeing what the wagon would look like behind this panel. Finally, it was time to say goodbye to all of our new friends and head for home. Life is good when you're headed home through the Kansas countryside with a rearview mirror full of 36 Fords. Life is very good. Clarence, whose nickname is Nubs, had fun catching fireflies to show his kids back home. When he realized that the flies probably wouldn't live until he got home, he released them. We all said goodbye to Phil and Chritstina, and I was sad to wave goodbye to Vincent. But once again, we were headed home, and that felt good. The ultimate victory for the little Jimmy was pulling the grade on the Great Continental Divide at Wolf Creek Pass, Colorado. That little truck just chugged right up the hill to an elevation of 10,857 feet above sea level, inspiring Dew to dub it the little truck that did. But the thrill of victory was soon replaced by the agony of the heat, when the original 1948 fan broke and threw a blade right through the radiator. This happened 10 miles east of Durango, Colorado. I became worried that we might not be able to locate a stock radiator core or a new fan, and that we might even have to leave the little Jimmy there. But offers to help were many, and soon we were in the shade with newfound friends and a clear direction. Joe would guide us around Durango, Dale would repair the radiator, and Don would provide a trailer and storage for the truck and wagon. I got to see what it was like to cruise behind Dew's 36 while the GMC was trailered to the safe confines of Don's immaculate machine shop and garage. A new radiator core was bussed in from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and all repairs were completed by noon the next day, so we were back on the road. The next stop was at the Four Corners area of the Navajo Nation. This is where the borders of 4 states, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico all come together. The foreboding weather compelled us to push on to Flagstaff, Arizona for our final road stop of the cruise. But just before we did, Dew wanted to show us something that could only be done from this exact spot. This picture shows Dew demonstrating his technique for being in 4 states at the same time. On our way to Flagstaff, it started raining real hard, so I got to ride in Dew's 36. It was fun. We left very early the next morning so that we would cross the Mojave Desert before it got too hot and make it home by afternoon. It sure did feel good to be home with all those wonderful memories, and when we got home, you will never believe what Judy did. She planted a great big kiss on the little truck that did. I hope you've enjoyed my story. Until next time, hugs and kisses, Teddy!